Hi, I'm Casey Kimbrough, lead teacher with 2Exalt Ministries, and we're so excited that you have chosen to share with us today. Before we get started, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get the latest notice of our lessons and resources. All right, today I have an exciting lesson for you today. I'm so excited to share with you. And our subject for today is this: how do I know when God is speaking to me? That's right. How do I know when God is speaking to me? So let me tell you a story about the prophet Isaiah. A prophet in the Bible is simply somebody who has heard from God and now brings that message to the people. In our modern society, prophets are often associated with predictions, but that's not really what a prophet is. A prophet is someone who brings the word of God or what they've heard from God to the people so the people can respond or make a choice in relationship to their actions with God. So the prophet Isaiah in the 6th chapter has a vision of the heavenly temple. And he says, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up. And then he goes on to describe what he sees: cherubims and angels and flying beings. And I know some of this stuff can sound really strange, but remember that he is trying to describe something that is spiritual and celestial and something that he's never seen before. So don't get distracted, don't get overwhelmed by it. It's just somebody who has a vision from God and receives a message. So how do I know when God is speaking to me? Well, let me help you a little bit. When I was a youngster, and the people who loved me, my mother and my grandmother, one of the skills they taught us and drilled into us was how to cross the street. I came from an urban environment, and it was key that you could cross the street, of course, without getting hit in traffic. And one of the first lessons they taught you was don't play in traffic. If you play in traffic, you're going to get hit. Now, some people like to take a lot of risk in life, and they like to play in traffic. That's what I call it. But I'm not one of those persons. So what I found out is that it's a key skill to learn how to cross the street. So what they taught me as a child was this: that you are to stop, look, and listen. That's right. Before you go out, you are to stop. Then you are to look both ways, to the left, to the right, and then back to the left. And once you have gotten clarity, then stop, look, listen for ongoing traffic, because sometimes it comes so fast, you might be looking the wrong way, and then proceed to cross the street. Very simple lesson, but very, very practical in terms of spiritual life. And so how does one know when God is speaking? Well, first of all, in the spiritual life, this is what you have to do. You have to stop. You have to stop all the chaos and the madness and running from here to there. You want to stop and focus and be still. You want to stop, and then you want to look. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings. Make sure you know what's going on. And then you want to listen. That means listening not only with physical ears, but with spiritual ears. So let me take that same lesson and move it just a little deeper. So my parents taught me that when I was a young child, but then when I got to the 6th grade, guess what I did? I signed up to be a crossing guard. I know they don't have those anymore, but when I was a kid in elementary school, if you're one of the older kids, they would put you out on the street corner there, and you would help the younger kids cross the street. They'd give you a badge, they'd give you a belt, and you would wear it, and you were so proud to be out there. But guess what? Those same fundamental lessons they reinforced. They said, now we're going to train you. This is what you do. When you get there, first thing you do is stop everybody. Stop. Make sure nobody crosses the street. And then you want to make sure that you look. Look to the left, look to the right, then look again back to the left. And then you have to make sure that you have listening ears on so that you can hear for ongoing traffic. And once we did that, we were then to walk out into the middle of the street and there pause and help the younger children cross the street. Stop, look, listen. All right, same principle in terms of spiritual life. When you are seeking to hear from God, again, stop, make sure you observe your surroundings, be still, ground yourself where you're at. Make sure you look, observe. That means you want to be focused in terms of seeking spiritual direction and then listening for God's spiritual direction. All right, one more time, but watch this. Now, what my parents also taught me was that now once you've done that and they really loved you, what would they do? They would take you by the hand, literally, and they would walk you across the street. They would say, hold on to my hand and don't let go, and I'm going to guide you across the street. The same way as a sixth grader, I would stand out in the street and say to those younger children, here, I'm going to guide you safely across the street. That is what listening to God does. God literally comes, takes us by the hand and guides us across the street. All right, so back to the prophet real quick. So the prophet Isaiah, this is what happens. What he does is he is telling the nation, he's saying, listen, you guys are messing up. You're missing what God is saying. He says, I've got a message from God. How do I know? I was still and I heard God, and it was in the year that King Uzziah died. And then I saw God high and lifted up. And when I saw God high and lifted up, his train, his countenance filled the entirety of the temple. And then he gave me a message. Now he gave me a message to share with you. So this is what you do. Listen, beloved. This is stop, look, listen, and then here's how you do. You have to start building a relationship with God. It starts with small steps, just like learning to cross the street. It starts with small steps, and you will begin to understand here and to know how God speaks to you. Now, God speaks to everybody differently. God speaks to everybody. It's not like my voice or some other's voice, but you begin to know inside that is the voice of God for me. And sometimes you don't know till after the fact, unfortunately. You made a decision or you did something and you say, boy, that was the right decision. That was God's voice. Or, boy, that was not God's voice. That was the wrong decision. And so you learn, I know this is going to be hard, by trial and error. And the more you listen, the more you learn to, the word is discern, and that just simply means to hear and to understand how God speaks to you, you will then be able to recognize more quickly the voice of God for you. Okay, so beloved, as we begin to wrap up this lesson is all about learning to listen for God, learning to listen for God for you in your life. Remember, it's different for everybody, but you can learn this skill by looking both ways, listening, and then the last step, of course, is this. Once you discern the voice of God, once you've been praying, seeking God's direction, that just means having a conversation with God. The last step is now you are ready to move into action. That's right. It's not finished until you move into action. And once you move into action, the cycle is completed. Now you've done something. Now something is moving. So whatever is moving. And guess what? Look at the results you get. If the results are not favorable to you and God, then I would say, hey, let's start all the way back from the beginning again. Stop, look, and listen, then move. So it gets translated this way when I'm preaching this in the regular kind of church thing. We talk about pray, plan, and move. Pray, plan, move. Pray first, then plan, then move. Don't plan, pray, move, but pray, seek God, listen to God, seek God's voice, learn how to understand God's voice for you. That's your prayer. Then make your plan. That means using your mind, using all your capacity, mark out your plan, what you're going to do. You've gotten direction from God, you've gotten good counsel, and now you move into action. And once you move into action, you reflect on what has happened, and you go all the way back to the beginning. Pray, plan, and move. All right, beloved, I'm so excited to offer this lesson to you. It will be a blessing to you. I'm quite sure it will be something extraordinary to help you to discern and to know what direction you need to be moving in your life. Again, I'm Casey Kimbrough, the lead teacher with 2Exalt Ministries. We're so excited that you're joining us. Please make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button. We would love to send lessons to you so you know what's going on. And if you're led, and I know you are, go to our website, make a contribution so that we can create more resources and tools to be a blessing to you and your family. We've got some exciting things coming in our family ministry, and it will be a blessing to you and your family. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for supporting this ministry. Have a blessed and wonderful day.